Hello there and welcome along to the horseracing.net preview of the weekend's racing action. After a couple of weeks break, we're back to take a look at what is a stellar Saturday of action, focusing mainly on Newbury and Newcastle. Now, normally we would take a look at the ITV7 game, but because there was a game on Friday, it was kind of difficult to work out where those races would be. So with that in mind, we're focusing on just the 6 races that are going to be televised on ITV tomorrow at Newbury and Newcastle, with the features being the Ladbrokes Trophy at Newbury at 3 o'clock and the Grade 1 Fighting Fifth Hurdle at Newcastle at 2:05. With that in mind, we're going to go in race card order. Before we kick on, don't forget to like and subscribe this video if you are enjoying it, and follow us on Twitter as well at horseracing_net. Now, in race card order this time around, we're going to start off with the 150 at Newbury, which is Ladbrokes sponsored, a £1 free bet today, handicap hurdle. This is over 2 miles, 4.5 furlongs, 12 due to go to post here. Interesting race, and I think the way to go here is with the bang in form T Clipper for the Tom Lacey team. He's won 4 of his 5 outings under rules so far. He's bang in form at the moment, and the most recent of those wins came on reappearance as well. It was a career best effort to win last month's Silver Trophy handicap hurdle at Chepstow, and I was really impressed by that effort. He won by 2.25 lengths that day. It was full value for that success. He kept on really strongly in the run-in, and he gave the impression that there could be more to come from him yet. So he's a £7 rise here to contend with, takes him up to 141, but I still think that's competitive in this sort of sphere. Fancy him to pick up a 5th win in 6 starts for the Tom Lacey team. Competitive event though. On the wild side, another informed runner, he's probably the biggest threat. He's won his last 2 starts in novice company. Switches into handicap events here for the first time for the very shrewd Dr. Richard Newland team. A mark of 128 is not to be scoffed at, so on the wild side can chase the selection home. Moving on now to the 2:05 at Newcastle. This is the Fighting Fifth Hurdle, Grade 1 event, regularly and generally seen as one of the first pointers towards next year's champion hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. And the horse to focus on here, the mare to focus on, is Epatante, who is the reigning champion in this division, sparkling, of course, last year. 3 wins out of 3, one of the most improved runners in training, and a thoroughly deserved winner of the champion hurdle. And it's a division that isn't the strongest at the moment, the 2 mile division. I'm sure even those at the top of it will concede that. So with that in mind, she's going to be very difficult to beat here on reappearance, Epatante. She runs well fresh. She showed that when winning on reappearance in Newbury last year. And on the bare form of things, she's very, very difficult to oppose here. Back-to-back Grade 1 wins for her. I think she'll very much get 3 in a row, and 5 to 6 looks fair value for her to do that. Up against her, well, Sceau Royal arrives here in brilliant form. He's won both of his starts so far this season, starting off with the Welsh Champion Hurdle at Ffoslas in October. Won the Elite Hurdle at Wincanton last time out. That's another race that's seen as an early pointer for the champion. He's generally well held when he's tried at the top level though. I think he can chase his selection home. And Silver Streak, really likeable 7-year-old. He's run well in the past. I think he's chased Epatante home in the past as well. Finished 2nd in last year's Christmas hurdle. He can finish 3rd. We're going to move on now to the 2:25 at Newbury, another Ladbrokes sponsored race. This is an intermediate hurdle listed contest over 2 miles and half a furlong. 9 due to go to post here, and the one who is popular or will be popular in the betting is Marie's Rock. Represents the Nicky Henderson team for Midland Park Racing. Nico de Boinville due to take the ride here. He's ridden her 3 times so far, and she's had 3 wins. She's made a really good start to her career. One of those in bumper, 2 over hurdles, and both of those wins came in December last year. Racked up a quick double of victories. Most recently in a mare's novices event, a listed event at Taunton, just before the turn of the year, and she's bound to be popular here. She moves into handicap company for the first time off a mark of 141. That could be a fair mark, but she's got a 334-day absence to defy here, and for all that she is open to more improvement yet, I'm going to take her on with the slightly more streetwise Botox Has. Now, he was a really nice juvenile last year for the Gary Moore team. Won twice from his 3 starts, and although we didn't see him in the spring, He picked up just where he left off with another victory at Cheltenham last time out in a conditions race back in October. I was really impressed with that win. He was prominent throughout and kicked on really well close home. His mark of 146 is a tough one here. He's got to defy top weight, but he strikes me as a 4-year-old, as one who could be open to more improvement yet. Josh Moore takes the ride again. Generally gives this one an attacking ride. If he's handed another aggressive, if he's given aggressive tactics again this time around, I think he'd be very difficult to beat. He's 6-1 Botox Has. Up against Marie's Rock at 13-8. Certainly offers more value. I'll be siding with him in the 225 at Newbury. On to the big one now. This is the 3 o'clock at Newbury. It's the Ladbrokes Trophy, one of the most famous races in the calendar. This Grade 3 handicap. It's got an esteemed history, this race. Plenty of top class horses have won it over the years, including Arkle, Denman and many clouds as well. Generally, you've got to be a very smart horse to win this. And what I would say about this year's renewal is that it's one of the most competitive and open races in living memory, in my living memory at least anyway. And at the time of recording, no less than 9 horses of the 18-strong field are trading at 10, 11-1 or shorter. That is enormously tricky from a betting perspective. It's one for punters to very much get stuck into here. And what I would say as well is that you've got to be a top class horse to defy a hefty weight in here. Since 2000, since turn of the year century, only 2 horses have carried more than 11 stone 6 to victory. If you want the answer to that trivia question, it's Trabolgan and then the great Denman on 2 occasions. So if you want for stats, you would immediately not fancy each of Ballyoptic, Vindication, Secret Investor and Beware the Bear. All 4 of those are carrying 11-8 or more in this race. And that sort of thinking applies to a lot of these in that their marks are high enough at the moment. And with that in mind, one who I think that could be on a competitive mark is the Conditional, who was second in this race last year. That was a fine performance. He did that off a mark of 139 that day, 137 that day. He takes his chance off 147 this time around, but I think he's done nothing but improve since that run at Newbury. He was an excellent 4th at Warwick in the Classic Chase in January after that, and then improved on that to be a brilliant winner of the Ultima Chase at the festival in March. That came off a mark of 139. He's up £8 here to 147, but I think there's certainly more to come from him yet, the Conditional. One thing about him was that he made a few notable errors during last season at key times, but he looked much more the finished Arkle, I thought, at the Ultima last time out. He's run well fresh in the past, and I think he's certainly one who can go well at about the 8-1 mark. But this is so competitive that I've put up 2 against the field here, and the other horse that it could be worth backing at about 11-1 is Cloth Cap, who carries the famous colours of Trevor Hemmings. Of course, colours that were carried to victory by many clouds. And like many horses in the yellow and green silks, he'll almost certainly have an inkling towards the Grand National next year. Cloth Cap has some national form. He was 3rd in the Scottish National back in 2019, and he's certainly a smart handicapper in the making. He's lightly raced for his age. He's only an 8-year-old. Although we haven't seen too much of him, he has shown smart form when he's made the track. He was 3rd on reappearance at Cheltenham last month behind Frodon. He was ultimately well beaten that day, but that will bring him on, and he's on a competitive mark at the moment. He takes his chance here of 136, just sneaks into the race. That's the same mark as when, it's £2 higher, than when finishing 3rd in the Scottish National. You'd like to think that he's certainly at a mark that underestimates him at the moment. If he runs to his best, you'd hope that he can be competitive of 136. And he was going to get a run in the National as well. You'd think he'd need to win this and win this well to get up to about 145. That's the sort of barometer to get you in a kind of race like this. He is well found in the market, 11-1, but I think that's for good reason. So Cloth Cap is the other horse that I'm suggesting for the Ladbrokes Trophy. Back to Newcastle now for the 3:15. This is the rehearsal chase. It's a listed race over 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs. And I've just mentioned the Grand National. This is another race that tends to be won and contested by runners with half a squeak of wanting to run in the National. Lakeview Lad, Beware the Bear, Wakanda have all won this in recent years, as has Junior. They're all smart stayers of years gone by. And I think there could be another smart stayer here in the form of Pim, who represents the Nicky Henderson team. Now, this horse is probably best known, slightly unfortunately, for carrying the same colours as his stablemate Altor. I think that's a little bit unfair because he's proved himself to be, well, a smart performer in his own right so far in his career. He was a novice last term and a smart novice. He won competitive events at Ascot and Cheltenham in the winter, and he wasn't so good at the turn of the year. He was beaten in both of his starts, but very much bounced back to form when winning a listed contest at Sandown earlier this month. That was smart form in my eyes. He drops back into handicap company here, and he's going to have to be good to win this off 154, but I think he's a talented type, and provided he doesn't win this too well, he could very much be one to consider for the Grand National at Aintree next year. So Pim for me at 100 to 30 in the rehearsal handicap chase at Newcastle. Last but not least, race 6 of 6 is the 3:35 at Newbury. This is the Ladbrokes sponsored handicap chase over 2 miles and half a furlong, 8 due to go to post here, and this is pretty open stuff. Iblio, lightly raced 7-year-old, tops the market at 11 to 4 for the Venetia Williams team. Was second on reappearance at Ascot last month. You got Moonlighter as well, finished second behind the well-treated Greener team at Exeter last time. The King of May won a race at Sedgefield when last seen. But the way I think we could go here at a slightly bigger price, a competitive price at least, is Zanza for the Philip Hobbs team, 6 to 1 at the time of recording, and he could be. You may think at first glance he's an interesting selection, but considering he's yet to win over fences, but he is a novice. He's raced twice so far over the bigger obstacles, and I think he's improved with both today's starts so far. He built on an encouraging debut at Newton Abbot in October when he shaped perfectly well to finish 4th, to chase home All Mankind at Warwick at the beginning of the month. Now, he was ultimately well beaten that day, 13 lengths to be exact, but he could be a smart type over fences, All Mankind. I don't think there's any shame in being beaten that day, and he certainly shaped well for a long way. He arrives here off an opening handicap mark of 138. That's pretty fair if you take his useful hurdling form into account. He's going to have to run to his best, but he's shown certainly an ability over the bigger obstacles so far. He's 6 to 1. Richard Johnson, the dual champion jockey, is booked to ride. Certainly think he can be competitive off that kind of mark and expect him to go well. So that was the ITV tips for this week. Do like and subscribe, of course, if you are enjoying what we're putting out. We will be back next week when the Tingle Creek and the Beach Chase are on the agenda. Another big week of jumps racing as the season really comes thick and fast at us now. Hopefully as well, crowds will be in attendance for those. So I'll see you next week and be lucky tomorrow.